Hey guys, this is Pip from Framing the Thought here, and today we're going to be talking about the worst movies of 2018. So, first of all, I'd like to talk about my dishonorable mentions, which would be Rabbit, which I did a review on, Venom, Deadpool 2, and Incredibles 2. So, number 5 on our list is A Quiet Place, which, you know, I feel like the biggest problem that was in place with that film was that you didn't really feel that much investment towards the main characters, even though there was incredible acting specifically from Emily Blunt. It's just that the writing for them wasn't very good, and the writing in general was just quite weak, especially with a lot of plot points, because a lot of stuff that should have happened just miraculously did not happen, which saved the characters multiple times. And there were just a lot of stupid plot points as to why they were in certain places and stuff, and it just really didn't make sense as a whole. And the characters just felt like regular horror characters, and they were so generic and bland, even though it was such a unique premise. So I didn't quite understand why they were that bland, and I just felt like there could be a lot of improvements. At number 4 is I Am Not a Witch, which premiered at Cannes, and it's from an African country called Zambia. And it actually got quite good reception at Cannes, but obviously I didn't think too highly of it. One of my biggest issues with it was that there was a really, really good score, but the usage of it was just really bad, and I just wish that I had have they had have gotten more out of it. Um, and there were a lot of parts that were boring, which I think was mostly due to not enough plot and character development, which just left the viewer sitting there wondering when something new was actually going to happen. And I think most of the issues with this film just come down to how much the screenplay was lacking in comparison with all of the other technical stuff. So, third on my list is Life of a Sewer Trucker, or Lost, which is a film out of Vegreville in Alberta, Canada. Um, and really, I just thought that it was a really boring film that wasn't very technically sound, with bad acting, bad cinematography, bad editing, bad sound design, and really, it was obvious that they didn't have very good equipment, but they could have done a lot more with it. And it actually had quite an interesting premise that was very, you know, it was somewhere along the lines of that Pulp Fiction style, but it was just not pulled off very well, and the writing for it was just pretty weak. So at my number 2 spot is The Predator, which was just a real disappointment because, it's a pretty classic action franchise, and the original Predator is actually quite an incredible movie. I think paralleling even with a movie such as Alien. And what they did with this one is they took that classic action movie style and they turned it into a really, really bad comedy that tried way too hard with its jokes instead of trying to be natural. And really, there were just terrible fight scenes. There was bad acting, bad writing, bad dialogue. The characters weren't very likable at all because of the dialogue, because they all just came off as terrible people and you had no reason to like them. And really, you just didn't feel investment towards any of them. And it was just a really big disappointment. At my number 1 spot is a movie out of Chicago. It's called Lakeshore Drive, and I've got to say, I think it was the most boring movie that I have ever seen. Um, the sound mixing and sound editing was just so awful. Just so often, characters' lips didn't match with their voices, what was going on in a scene. The sounds didn't match that. Some scenes, there were sounds that didn't look like they should be there. There were just no sounds in some scenes. And upon this, the writing was just so bad that half of what happened in the film didn't make sense, whether it be plot wise or with characters. And it was based off of a true story, so I'm not quite sure how they actually managed that. But yeah, um, and finally for that one, it had some of the worst cinematography that I've ever laid my eyes upon, and like there was this really adorable dog in the movie, but the way the camera followed him was just so awful that I couldn't even like the dog really. So thanks for watching, guys. I hope you're having a good new year. I know this didn't come out in 2018, but it's my worst movies of 2018. So, you know, I hope you're having a good New Year's. Remember to like, subscribe, and comment. Thanks for watching. Ciao.